Sawadee krap tuk tan. How you going, everyone? Welcome back to the Think Pink podcast, episode number 3. If you can do me the favor of doing the whole like, subscribe, comment if you like. If you need to ask any questions, put them in the comments there. I'll get back to you on the next one. So we've got a solo one this week. I've been thinking a lot about this one. I had somebody inbox me from Tasmania, of all places, to ask me about what needs to be done to run a proper amateur show. But he was also asking about like how to run the whole, each level, like between, like as we call it, D class to A class. For those of you who aren't following Team Pinky Muay Thai on Instagram, if you jump across, I did a post last week, which the cover photo is Nick Keros with his WBC belt on, and I kind of outline D to A class. D class being interclubs, C class being amateur, B class being a step between amateur and pro, which is questionable by a lot of people. I know Sainaji from Rebellion doesn't agree with it, but my belief in it is that we need that step there because, unfortunately, the masses aren't as tough as they used to be. Everyone wants to talk a big game, but when it comes down to it, there's a lot of quitting due to too much pressure too early. So what there's been added in is a next level, which is B class, which will be like 3 3-minute rounds, but with elbow pads, just taking away that scariest weapon. And then onto A class, which is either 3 3s or 5 3s, fully unpadded, go for it. Big walkouts, all the exciting stuff. So a quick little outline of each one. As I just said, A class, 3 3s, 5 3s, all the bells and whistles. B class, you may receive a walkout, nothing big. It wouldn't be like the fireworks and all the flashing lights and stuff, but you might get your walkout song. That would be 3 3s, 3 2s for the C class. So 3 2s, no walkout. You sit directly behind the previous matchup, and then you just jump straight in. No big announcements, and the winner is just winner, blue corner, winner, red corner, whatever it happens to be. D class, take away everything. There's no real announcements. It's you jump in, you have a go, you learn, you try something new, you listen to your corner, you show your trainer that you're willing to work on the stuff that's been asked of you. Really important step, I believe, is the D class. Not everyone has the ability to be able to put that on or, close enough to other gyms to be able to make it worthwhile. So I understand why starting at C class is often a thing, and there's nothing wrong with starting at either. The one place you don't start is B class or A class. So for a fully amateur show, the main things you'll need will be your refs and judges. Depending on how many matchups you have, if it's anything 15 and under, I would say just have, your 3 people sitting ringside for judging. You have your timekeeper, your head official, and a ref. Anything above 15, you'd probably want to add another couple in who can tag team in and out so people aren't just working all day. You'll also find on the C class that there's a lot less stress on the refs and judges as well. It's their place to learn as well as fighters. So you don't have, even just the flashing lights and the big walkouts and stuff. That all adds to the stress of not just the fighters, but also all the officials and stuff as well. Promoter as well. There's a lot less stress for a promoter. On Sunday here, we had our Valley Muay Thai run by Paddy Brown, a future guest of the show, no doubt. He was just wandering around. I think he had one fighter on. Yeah, he had one fighter, and he was just wandering around, enjoying it as well, playing his part, doing his little bit, but at the same time, getting to enjoy it. You wouldn't get to do that on a B or an A class show. Excuse me. So, refs and judges, you'll have those. DJ optional. Some shows, they'll just have the same guy doing the ring announcing as they do just running an iPad into one speaker or something. It can be enough depending on, what your budget is. But if you're going to go full budget, you have your own speaker, own amp, all that kind of stuff. You have one mic plugged into it. You have a iPad plugged into it where you can play your music out of. That person also controls the Muay Thai music for Y Crew and then fight. Only sealing of the ring as an amateur. No run Muay. You have no real need for. Honestly, there's no real need for any more than one trainer, one second in the corner. Anything more than that's a bit ridiculous. Obviously, depending on how many fighters you have guys out the back doing all the rub downs and stuff like that. When we've had 7, 8, 9 on a show, we've had 4 or 5 guys out the back doing all the work, and then 2 of us sitting ringside. Also, obviously, you need your ring. You'll need, depending on what your local governing body or whatnot allows, you'll need security guards. You just need a little small warm-up area. Warm-up area can be open, doesn't need to be closed off. People can be seen warming up and stuff like that. One warm-up area, shared warm-up area for everyone. Everyone should be in the same room, sharing the same sort of space. Aside from that, not a whole lot needed. No fancy stuff. You don't need, red carpets and flashing lights, and you just need a ring announcer who can say names, who can read. That's about it. The cheaper you can do it, it's almost the better. Like, the less pressure there is on yourself as a promoter, as well as the pressure on the fighters. Then that also needs to be passed down to fighters. There needs to be pre-show speeches where they talk about no big celebrations, even no post-fight group photos with your team and stuff. Get the opponent, the 2 fighters posing together. They should be teaching, the show should be teaching respect and stuff as well, which comes down from the trainer. If you haven't seen my latest Think Pink rant, you'll see that on my Instagram, also on my YouTube channel, where I actually talk about that. And if fighters don't respect their trainer, they probably won't respect their opponent. So, big one there. And if they're not respecting their trainer and their opponent, they're not respecting the sport. As far as that goes, depending on what state you're in, how you have your sanctioning, obviously most states at the moment for amateur, it's starting to go across. They're starting to go across to WBC, which I'm the SA rep for that. We're waiting for waiting for the rules to be approved by our local government body. But most people are using MTA at the moment. In the rules, it is 15 and I believe it's under 12s, no headshots, which is totally fair. 12 to 15, I believe, is mandatory chest guards. And 16 and 17, chest guards are optional. But aside from that, everyone wears shin guards, elbow pads, headgear. Obviously, you have your groin guard and your mouth guard. There is, depending on your state, if you have like Muay Thai Victoria, Muay Thai New South Wales, they have a uniform. I think that's a really important one to bring in early if you can. If enough people can work together to be on the same page, then you have, it doesn't matter who you're sanctioning with or whatever, but you have a uniform. So there is no competition in how cool you look. I like the idea of red and blue singlets. That's one thing that Muay Thai Victoria are doing, which is amazing. I think it's great. I would hope next year in South Australia, some of the promoters can actually work together and do the same thing, where part of fighting on it is having a uniform. I think it looks tidier. It's less, you're more anonymous, which is really important as an amateur, staying anonymous. 16, 17-year-olds, 17 to 12, there's no elbows to the head or knees to the head. Fair call on that one. I totally agree with that. Obviously, yeah, the no headshots under 12. 18 and up, you're an adult. I know at 17, you can fight someone within 5 years of your age. Under that, it has to be within 2 years. If this is all written out and if you read the MTA rules, there is a little bit of room for play, but unfortunately people take advantage of that and use it to go a little bit more free and take away the important stuff, which is the padding and all the stuff that keeps people anonymous. Good thing about a headgear, you're hiding behind a headgear. No one knows who you are, really, unless they're there to support you. Most people don't remember you. They'll know your name and that's it. They won't be able to put a face to the name. That all comes later, which is how you stay stress-free and allow people to have multiple fights. I believe I've covered everything on that one. I'm doing this off the top of my head. I'm not very good at the whole notes thing, so yeah, I'm doing this off the top of my head. So when it comes to if you had a show with C and B class, so B class is still classed as an amateur. Some states, though, you have to be registered as a pro to do it. So I get that as well. Without the headgear, you all of a sudden, let's go unpaid pro. I call it pro-am on my little thing I did on Instagram with the different pictures explaining each one. I called it pro-am. So it's amateur, you're not being paid. It's pro rules, but with elbow pads. So this is where if you're going to have both, you have to have the distinguishing line between the two, which would be, say you're having C and B class. You would have C class sitting directly behind the fight before them. Then when the next fight starts, it's like, boom, they jump straight in. B class, you'd have a walkout, have their walkout song. Doesn't have to be anything exciting, but they have a walkout where everyone sees them walk to the ring with their moncon on, a little less anonymous. You're starting to earn a name. You get into B class is where you have that chance to make your name for when you go pro, and potentially make your value for your first purse. So entry level pros are normally, which we'll get onto that in a second, normally around $100 a round. Excuse me. So they get a walkout with their walkout song, whatever song they want to choose. Get in the ring, they do their Y crew. Can be an extended one if the promoter allows it. If not, whatever. As long as they're still in the ring, that should be enough. So then, but people in the crowd are getting educated. They go, that's the difference. So when the person, this is an amateur. Okay, B class pro. But they come walking out and everyone in the crowd go, there's a difference there. So that's what I want to get to. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for the next step. So you fight, you do your 3 rounds, boom. And the winner is, you get an announcement. A little bit more exciting. There's that little bit more value to the fighter to make them remember it, to make the trainer, push you that little bit more. But also there's that value from the crowd where they get a little bit more excitement, which also if you're having B class fights, you may be able to, it's like a $5, $10 ticket price increase. If you had, say you had 20 amateur fights or 10 amateur fights and 5 or 6 B class. I don't like having them shared on the same show. I think if you've got the numbers, the only thing that should be shared is B and A class. I don't agree with having the B class on an amateur show, but some states, like we're talking about with Tasmania, it doesn't have a huge fight scene, and the fight scene is not very regimented as far as keeping it Muay Thai goes. So there's the difference between those two. Then you'd go A class, as I mentioned before, all the bells and whistles. So if you had a mixed B and A class show, you would have the Bs walking out, no lighting as such. They come walking out with their walkout music. They're fighting with their elbow pads on. They're doing their Y crew, whatnot. Then you have your A class where they come out. They'll have, be dim lighting. There'll be real atmosphere, dim lighting, flashing lights, fireworks, whatever you want to do. Coming out to the ring, they can do their extended Y crew run Muay, and there's no padding. And then it shows once again the steps between them all. I'm a big fan of making sure that the crowd is being educated. So guys, now we have the A-class guys. This here, you'll see there'll be walkout songs, there'll be flashing lights, there'll be atmosphere. Let's make some noise for these guys. To put it bluntly, no one else deserves the noise. You don't need all the extra stuff. Those other ones, it's just stepping stones to get to be someone. And A-class is someone. That's how you want to be doing it. I am a huge one for letting the A-class guys be the ones that everyone remembers. That's where you have your responsibility with your social media. B-class is where you start building your social media. I'm doing this, I'm fighting, I'm da-da-da-da-da. C-class, just tell them, fighting this weekend, anyone need tickets, come to the gym. There should be no training videos. There should be none of the extra stuff. It's all pressure that you're putting on yourself. And you don't need, as an amateur, the only person you need to have faith in is yourself and your trainer. Too many people worry about getting plugged from the outside, like, oh man, you're doing so good, bro. I'm so proud of you. Yes, smash it, bro. Man, you're an amateur. You don't need that crap. All you need to have is some self-belief. And to do that, it's to spend time with you. No one else's opinion matters at that stage. When you go B class, you can start, all right, guys, da-da-da-da, I'm fighting. It's going to be my first unpadded fight. Come and cheer me on, da-da-da-da-da. Start hyping it up a little bit. But once you are an A-class fighter, you don't have the choice anymore. Your job is to fight, but also your job is to try and make money and draw attention to the promotion. The promoter is paying you, no matter how little the amount is, you need to start earning your numbers. As I said before, opening fight, sorry about that. Opening fight as a pro, you should be $300. No one should be any more. Your pro debut, unpadded, fully unpadded, should be $300. Then the promoter can look at how much money did you make for them? What did you bring to the table? You might not be making the promoter money directly, like you're going from interstate, you're going to someone else's show, you're fighting their hometown boy. That all comes down to how you're helping the promoter. You're fighting their guy who's a big ticket seller. You're stepping up in experience to fight their big ticket seller. Or it might just come down to, promoters are taking notice of everything you do. Say you have an amazing walkout where you dance or people remember, and people are remembering you. That adds value to you. You as a fighter, you now have a value. And if people are talking about, people start sharing your walkout, for instance, no matter how good or bad it is. Let's use an example. Jason 50 Shades Scott with a GIMP mask on. By him coming out to with that GIMP mask on, people hated it, people loved it. People laughed at it, people got angry about it. That is drawing attention to him as a product, but also to the promotion as a product. And all the attention any person can get are those things that come to create value. They create a dollar figure. So you might go from, your first pro fight, unpadded, 3 threes, $300. Maybe your next one you get $500. But maybe you did so much and the crowd loved you and you're a new crowd favorite and you sold 200 tickets and all this crap. Then all of a sudden, maybe you're worth a little bit more. Or the thing I like about ticket sales, this is where I'm a big believer. If you make base prices for fighters, so it's $300, and after a few fights it goes to $500, maybe $600, then $900. They start fighting 5 rounds, they get $1,000, then they go working their way up. And commission on ticket sales. If ticket sales, if they're the local fighter, I believe ticket sales should be a big part of it. If there's someone being flown in, they should be based on who they're fighting. If they're fighting the big ticket seller, then the person deserves that little bit more as well, because they're fighting the person who's making the money for them, making the money for the promoter. There's a bit of a sliding scale, but if everyone's doing within 10-20% of each other, then it's not too bad. Like, then you add in the commissions for ticket sales, even whether it be on the live stream, but adding a commission to the live stream. So when they buy the live stream, they put in a code, or they screenshot that they bought it for supporting whoever, and they send it to a website, which will then correlate who makes what money. There needs to be a commission-based thing there, as far as, because if someone's just a big ticket seller, they shouldn't just be making a shitload of money because of that. Because like on their purse shouldn't be valued any higher. Their purse should be on how good they are and how much of an entertainer they are. The bonuses, the commission should be on ticket sales or on attention they're bringing to the show. I know it's a hard one to work out, but I think if everyone puts their own little bit of imagination into it, I think it can actually work really well. And it stops at why is so-and-so getting $2,000, but I'm only getting $500? Oh, they sell more tickets. Well, if their purse is still $500, but they're selling a shitload of tickets and they get commission, whether it be $5-10 a ticket, whatever it is, then their purse is still $500. They just get their bonus, their commissions. So there's obviously a bit of wiggle room with all that, but you want to try and follow what the promoters at the top are doing and making it so that there is a bit of a uniform setup. Obviously, commissions have a big part in how different things are played out. Sometimes it's they have to have a certain number of fights before they take the padding off and all that sort of stuff. I don't believe in that way, because people develop at different times. I believe in minimums though. My belief is minimum 5 C class and minimum 3 B class. You might be better than whoever, but if you're a B class and you're going to be fighting someone who normally fights A class because you're that good, the A class guy needs to be willing to put the elbow pads on. There needs to be a bit of wiggle room with that, because there is not enough people in the pool. I don't want to touch on any other subjects but this today. I want to make sure that I go over the D to A class thing, the difference between promoting each class, how to cross over between the different classes. Some shows, like if you get the opportunity on the 31st of August, Rebellion Muay Thai is having C class, then their B class in Victoria is pretty much just 3-3s. On Roots, it's just a lower level pro fight. They don't have the elbow pads, which I get it. It's not considered B class there. It's pretty much you go straight from amateur to pro, but it still has the same idea behind it. You're just fighting at the next level down from the big guys. So it'll be Muay Vic, Roots level, Rebellion level. It's a Muay Thai festival through Road to RWS. Definitely a good one to watch for that, so you can get the idea of how to blend the three together. I'm going to leave it at that today. I've hit my 20 plus minutes. I am recording again tomorrow for next week's episode. I'll have a guest on. I'm really looking forward to this one. So keep an eye out every Thursday for another Think Pink podcast. Inbox me on social media. I have the Think Pink podcast on Instagram as well, or Team Pinky Muay Thai. Tag us, share us if you can. Really appreciate that. Get it out there, help it grow. You guys are really going to help my YouTube. My aim is to be monetized this year on YouTube, and I'm getting there. It's been a battle, but now that I'm doing this and I've got some, good number retention on my views, I'm really happy with this. So it's getting there. And once I do that, then it's going to allow for a lot more. Once I'm not restricted by trying to pump my YouTube, then I'll be able to, I'll have it on Spotify and all that sort of stuff as well. But for now, I really want to build this up. Help me build it up so then I can share it to other platforms and stuff as well. I appreciate everyone who's listening, who's got through to this point. I think we're about 25 minutes in, I believe. Yep, 25 minutes in. Hope you're enjoying it. Inbox me with any questions or whatnot, and yeah, we'll go from there. Thank you very much, guys. ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดีครับ